The Witcher 3 is one of the greatest games ever. To me, it's one of the best stories, some of the best world building, and hands down the best writing a game has ever had. The Witcher 3 has its themes, and it really never shies away from them. The opening cutscene showcases the brutality of the world that we're going to spend countless hours in. Showcasing the war and setting up other story points go into what is a perfect opening cutscene. This and a lot more go into the many reasons why I truly love this game, and why even 10 years later, and with the announcement of a fourth game hopefully coming out soon, I am truly excited for where this series will go. But with that, I think it's time to talk about the best RPG ever made. The Witcher 3 is simply something special. CDPR struck gold with it, and other companies look at this game in the wrong way. The world and the exploration takes a lot from games like Skyrim, and I know that's not a good comparison, but even the marketing pushed it as a Skyrim hybrid. The gameplay, while better than other RPGs, could be far better, and it leaves a lot to be desired. Despite what reviewers would have you say, it is not like Dark Souls combat. It pulls a lot from games like Rocksteady's Arkham series, and it makes you feel like a Witcher, being able to zip around from enemy to enemy. But I need reviewers to stop saying it's Dark Souls combat. The game does not do a good job at showing all the systems it has to offer, to the point where I went through my first playthrough never once using the potions or decoctions in the game. I'm sure many others did the same, because on lower difficulties like normal, these systems are not needed. You can eat food and dodge for almost every combat encounter, to the point where Contracts, the main moneymaker in the game, boils down to dodge and attack over and over again, which is nothing like what the devs probably had in mind. On a technical level, it really is not good. The combat feels like a later 7th generation game, more so an early last gen game, which again is not bad, but it's really not up to par compared to other games from that generation. Something else that I really don't like is a lack of stealth in the game, except for one very odd moment in the third act that I'll talk about later. I'm not saying add stealth sections, because that is really something that Geralt would not do, but only having large enemies to fight really gets the same after a while. So either commit to having stealth or just don't do it, because the game would be phenomenal either way. I feel like adding stealth sections would be perfect in the 4th entry, because I feel like Ciri's skill set would tailor to stealth more than open combat. Parts of the game, like exploration, are amazing. Being able to walk up on a random quest adds so much to the game, and it might even only take you like 5 minutes. You can save a merchant from a bandit camp, come across a monster's nest, all while in what looks like the most beautiful game ever made. Armor and other systems like crafting are very well thought out, and most of the Witcher armor looks great, and the separation between Nilfgaard armor and Northern Realm armors are so well made, it really shows the divide between these two nations. And Gwent is cool too, obviously.
How about that? It does smell of lilac and gooseberries.
The Witcher 3 story is amazing. While the general plot points have been done before, CDPR is able to craft something that feels totally unique. The story follows Geralt, a Witcher, and the protagonist of the other games and the book series of the same name. During the opening section of the game, you're hunting for his longtime lover from the novels, Yennefer. She's the woman you meet during the dream sequence at the beginning of the game, and this is her first appearance in the series. Some background: at the end of the last book, Geralt and Yennefer both die, but surprise, they don't, and Geralt is found to have no memory of anything or anyone. This leads to the other love interest, Triss, to swoop in and begin dating Geralt. And from that moment, they are together through the entirety of the first game and most of the second game. At the end of the second game, Geralt finds out that Triss lied to him about Yennefer, and he recovers his memory. They break up, then Geralt and Vizimir go off to look for Yennefer, which leads us to where we are now. Back to The Witcher 3, once Geralt and Yennefer finally reconnect, there is no time for them to catch up, as they are sent to speak with Emperor Emhyr of Nilfgaard. Emhyr is the Emperor of Nilfgaard and the biological father of Ciri. He tasks Geralt and Yen with finding Ciri, Emhyr's daughter who Geralt raised throughout the book series. This then sends us into the first act of the game, but it's all the story summary you're going to get from me, because I feel like everyone should go out and experience the first act of this game, spoiler free. The first act sets up your relationships with each character phenomenally, setting up Geralt's love interest with Triss and Yennefer, showing the antagonist in the Wild Hunt, and introducing you to other characters that will be important throughout the game. Each character and their relationship to Geralt is introduced naturally, which is great when other RPGs will dive into the entire backstory of a character the second you meet them. Bethesda games, for example, do that a lot, and it really drags the whole game down. At the start of the video, I said that The Witcher 3 stuck to its themes, and an example of this is the Bloody Baron questline. The Bloody Baron questline is simply something brutal, and it's depressing, and hands down has to be one of the best written questlines a game has ever had. The questline ends with two choices that are both debatably bad. Choice is something that's heavily pushed in the first act of the game, and your choices have effects on the greater world. However, we likely won't see these changes outside of a cutscene at the end, and until The Witcher 4. The game builds upon your choices in the second act, where you can bring all the people you help to defend Kaer Morhen and Ciri, but that can only really be done through the choices you make. These choices include convincing Kira to not do something stupid, convincing Letho to not do something stupid, convincing the Uncrates to not do something stupid. It is a trend in the game that people make stupid choices and Geralt has to fix them. Jumping back a bit, the moment when Geralt and Ciri finally reunite is truly so amazing. It takes place at the end of Act 2, and once you find her, it can be a full 15 minutes of uninterrupted dialogue. The conversation is such a realistic depiction of a conversation between a father and his child, and while those 15 minutes might not be for everyone, it really is just another example of how phenomenal of a writing team CDPR has. Their next game, Cyberpunk, has even more moments like this, and it's just amazing to see in video games. The concept of choice is even bigger in the third act, influencing what ending you ultimately get, and each ending will tie into the fourth game. Each of the 3 endings, however, are very good, and all of them are a perfect way to end the game. Yes, even the depressing one is a more than valid way to end it. However, if you got this ending, I really don't like you, and you deserve what's coming for you in the fourth game. The world that CDPR was able to build is just incredible. It feels like one of the most lived-in worlds to ever be put inside any video game, linear or open world. White Orchard, Velen, Novigrad, and Skellige all serve points of the story, but they are built in a way where it feels like these places could exist outside of Geralt and the story of The Witcher 3. The side content is going to be in this section of the video, but just know that each piece of side content could easily be considered its own game entirely. One quest that sticks out to me is the Wada Heart quest, which you'll encounter at the start of the game, and I will not spoil what happens in it, but it really shows the world in a very natural light. The Witcher contracts in this game are perfect world building tools, allowing you to encounter monsters that you most likely wouldn't encounter in the main game, and discovering these monsters, learning about the horrors that they committed. Some eat kids, others are murdered and haunt where they were killed, but it's truly amazing world building. I cannot say enough that you, the viewer, need to play this game if you haven't. And if you have, go play it again because there are certainly things that you missed in it. Being on my 4th playthrough for making this video, there are whole quest lines I never experienced, characters I'm meeting for the first time, and I haven't even played the DLC until now. It's an incredible level of detail that CDPR was able to put into a game of this size. The DLC, I have a lot less to say about because I've only played Hearts of Stone and Blood and Wine once, as I said earlier. Hearts of Stone's story is far better than the main questline, and has a lot of character moments that really shines a light onto the people that have been wronged in the world of The Witcher. It has a very strong antagonist in Gontro Dim, and he has valid points for being the way he is. But he's also characterized as the devil, which makes you not want to support him, obviously. Olgierd, one of the main characters, is written so realistically, it puts other games to shame with the level of depth he is given. Blood and Wine, while not as strong of a story as Hearts of Stone, and even the main questline in some cases, is a large world that is totally different in tone than what we see in the main game. The choices that come from Blood and Wine's story and side quests, however, are much more complex, and are argued about much more than main questline choices are, which I think is a testament to show that even though the story may be weaker, the endings and the choices can easily be just as strong as the main games. The expansion packs are really wonderful pieces of media, and the reason that this section is so short is because they could easily have their own separate videos, and I want to give them their own spotlight. Earlier, I talked about difficult choices, and one of them comes in Act 1. For those of you that have played, you probably know what's coming. The quest involves a village being plagued by bad dreams and being taken to their deaths. Geralt is tasked by the Crones, witches of the swamp, to help the village in exchange for information on Ciri. Geralt will find the cause of the village's troubles in the form of a spirit trapped in a tree. And now a choice comes. Free the spirit in order to save the children being held captive by the Crones, or kill the spirit. This is how it's framed for a first-time player. I know many people probably saved the very scary tree and regretted it shortly after. I know others picked the latter option and regretted it as well. The first choice has the consequence that every villager from the village you are tasked with saving is killed, and the wife of the Baron who you've been tasked with finding will also be killed. Now if you pick killing the spirit, the children will die, but you save dozens of others, including women and children. The Baron also finds his wife and he vows to stop abusing her. His army takes over and basically is turned into no more than bandits. But going back to the other option, if his wife dies, the Baron will take his own life, and it was truly a heartbreaking scene. Moving along to something more cheery, every Ciri choice is perfect. It can really go either way as to what Geralt will do as a father. The snowball fight between the two is only if you make that choice. It's a wonderful moment between the two of them. This is basically the second time they've been able to talk to each other, and it shows that Ciri puts a lot of faith into Geralt. The player gets the choice to either be an amazing dad to Ciri or be a horrible human being. Now, one scene that I'm going to talk about in particular is that Ciri will find out that someone who saved her life is not coming back for the 4th game, and she wants to say goodbye. Geralt has the ability to say no, and Ciri is rightfully pissed off. It is literally a right turn and takes 5 minutes. So if you didn't pick this, why? Do you hate people? This is the only choice that if I find out that you told Ciri no, I don't trust you. Because why? You're on the island, and you have a sorcerer that can teleport people. There's no reason to not pick this option. In the gameplay section, I talked about how there was one stealth section, and it was horribly out of place. And I hate it. This comes at the end of the 3rd act, and is basically the last thing you do before the end of the game. And in it, you weave a boat through lights. If you cross into the light, you're detected. But no matter what, the outcome is still the same. You still speak to the Emperor no matter what. Now listen, this is the Emperor of a nation at war, and you, a soldier, catch a witcher, someone whose kind was murking kings in the last game. It's in the name. And you, one person, escort him to the Emperor. I know Geralt has been seen with him, but this is a naval blockade. You're about to invade a whole country. Now is not the time to risk the Emperor's life. The Witcher 3 is amazing. It's one of 3 games that I can go back to at any moment in my life and play it and have that same sense of wonder that I did when I experienced it for the first time. This game is usually on sale for $10 to $15, and even at the typically listed price of $30, is more than worth it. This is a game that I've purchased 3 separate times, and has only happened to one other game. It is something that I need to experience on every piece of hardware that I own. To me, it is set a standard that other games have been able to meet, let alone exceed. Games have come close, don't get me wrong, but in an ever-changing video game industry, we may never get a game that is able to influence the industry like how The Witcher 3 was able to do, all the way back in 2015. I'm truly excited to see what CDPR is able to do with The Witcher 4. As expected, it will be something truly amazing. Thank you for watching, and if you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe, as it will mean the absolute world to me. My name is Mace, and I can't wait to see you in the next one.